Hello everyone, welcome to this series where we are going to go over Chapter 7 exercises for our Managerial Accounting course, ACCT 428. Starting with this exercise 7-2A. So let's read the exercise together. The exercise says Parliament Company, which expects to start operations on January 1st, 2018, will sell digital cameras in a shopping mall or in shopping malls. Parliament has budgeted sales as indicated in the following table. The company expects a 10% increase in sales per month for February and March. The ratio of cash sales to sales on account will remain stable from January through March. Okay? So what is required in this question? A, complete the sales budget by filling in the missing amounts. As you can see, we have the sales budget right here, and we have January figures, but we have February and March figures missing. So we're gonna complete those, okay? And B, determine the amount of sales revenue Parliament will report on its first quarter pro forma income statement. So let's start with A. Now, keep in mind, if you get a similar question in any of your exams, we will most likely provide you with this template, and you will not have these question marks here. Instead, you're going to have maybe a space or a square space for each of the figures that you can just fill up. So what I've done, I have already went ahead and created or have redone the templates right here, so we can just fill it up together, okay? Here, sorry, I forgot to put the total right here, $170,000. So we have January figures right here. All we need to do is fill up February and March based on the information that was given to us right here. The question said, the company expects a 10% increase in sales per month, right? Meaning that this figure right here is going to increase by 10% for February and then another 10% for March, and keeping the ratio of the cash sales to the sales on account percentages, right? So you have multiple ways, or we can do this in multiple ways. The easiest way to do it is just to add 10% to each of these, right? So starting with the cash sales on January, we can use our calculators and say 50,000 multiplied by 1.1, 1 being the 100%, 0.1 being the extra 10%, right? Many students typically would multiply 50,000 by 10%, which is 0.1, right? And then take that extra, which we get in the calculator, 5,000, and then add it, right? So they say 50,000 plus that extra 5,000, right? An easier way to do this is just right away on your calculator, just type in that 50,000 and multiply it by 1 point and the percentage increase that you are given in the question. So in this case, it's 10%, so I'm going to multiply the 50,000 by 1.1, right? Which is 110%. And that's going to give me 55,000. So I'm going to write that down. $55,000. Okay? And then I can go ahead and move on to the sales on account figure right here, the 120,000, and do the same. 120,000 multiplied by 1.1. And I'm going to get 132,000. Okay? All I need to do now is that just add these two together. So 132,000 plus the 55,000 we calculated earlier, the cash sales, and we get 187,000. All right. This is one way to do it. Okay. Another way to do it, which is unnecessary because it's a little bit longer, is to just use your calculator to figure out the increase in the total budgeted sales, which is the 170,000. So I'm going to say 170,000 multiplied by 1.1, and that will give me this figure here, 187. And then I can go back and calculate how much does the cash sales represent out of this total budgeted sales. Okay, so I find the ratio. So 50,000 divided by 170,000, that will give us multiplied by 100, that will give us 29.412%. Okay, so that means cash sales here represents 29.412% from the total budgeted sales. Okay, and then you use that percentage and multiply it by this, right? Now, as I said, this method is unnecessary, but it's just another way to get to your answer, or you can even use it to check your answers, right? To check that, does this 55,000 represent the same percentage out of the total budgeted sales for February or not? Okay, just to check if you wanted to make sure that you got the correct answers in your exams. Okay, now let's move on to the to figure out March figures. So again, we'll do the same, but this time we're going to use the 55,000 here as an input. So 55,000 on my calculator multiplied by 1.1, and that will give me 60,500. Okay, we'll do the same for the sales on account figure. I'll take the 132,000 multiplied by 1.1, and that will be 145,200. Add the cash sales to the sales on account. So plus 60,500 equals 205 and 205,700. Okay, and that would be the answer to the first part A. Let's now move on to part B and read it again. In B, the question says, determine the amount of sales revenue Parliament will report on its first quarter being January, February, and March, right? Pro forma income statement, right? Now, what would be the sales revenue figure? The sales revenue figure is consistent, or it consists of the sales budgeted for the 3 months in the first quarter. Now, which sales figure do we use? The cash sales only or the sales on account only? No, we actually use the total budgeted sales. Okay, because the revenue figures does not really rely on the sale being a cash sale or a sale on account. It doesn't make a difference. We use the total budgeted sales figures. So to answer B, all we're going to do is just add these three together. 170,000 plus 187,000 plus 205,700. So let's do that. We could say the amount of sales revenue appearing on the first quarter pro forma income statement is going to be the sum of the monthly total budgeted sales amounts. Okay, which is, I'm gonna say here first quarter sales revenue is gonna equal to 170,000 plus 187,000 plus 205,700. Use the calculator. 170,000 plus 187,000 plus 205,700. And that's going to be 562,700. And that is the answer to part B. That is it for this exercise. It's pretty short, pretty straightforward. I hope this video is helpful to you. And until I see you in the next exercise in this series, take care.